New Orleans is known for a lot of things, but the one thing that we know that we own and that's more important than anything in terms of what we get identified more than anything else is with Mardi Gras. In New Orleans, we have these themes, and each crew, each club or carnival organization will have anywhere from 15 floats to some parades have as many as 70 plus floats in the actual parade. And Endymion is not only is it the biggest crew in Mardi Gras, but it really, the floats in terms of the lighting and technology, it's the most forward-thinking, really, of all the parades in Mardi Gras. Pontchartrain Beach for me, first of all, I remember a number of things. My dad worked with the Bat family, which built Pontchartrain Beach, and my father did some of the decorating of Pontchartrain Beach. And we'd go out there and hang out all day long and go on the Zephyr and the Music Express and all the different rides. And Haunted House was one of our favorite ones. In fact, that's one of my favorite floats of that float.
Once the design is done, we'll start with a bare chassis. We figure out what the configuration is. Some floats are not always centered, so that if the top elevation is slightly askew to the right or front or back, then we have to make adjustments like that. Once all the carpentry is done, then you have your fit and finish items, just a little light sanding. However, for these floats, we did clothing because cloth kind of merges all of the textures to kind of make it an even surface, after which we go ahead to priming, prepping the surface for paint.
Usually when you paint floats, you have a sketch in one hand and you're not worried so much about getting a perfect scale rendering of the objects. You're working with spray guns to add the fades in, sometimes adjusting the guns so that I can get like a speckling pattern, occasionally having to, perfectly measure out and draw in things, cut them in with a brush, and then go back in and mask them off to spray a fade on it to create dimension. There are some people who, they're not all just, grabbing the beads. They do stand back and really appreciate the beauty of what's rolling past them. It's very exciting to be a part of that.
This year, Royal Productions with Kern has brought in different LED effects, different lighting effects, including some carnival lighting that's normally seen on carnival rides. On these floats, we've got 300 feet of different cars. So there's 8 different cars, 8 different sections, 300 feet long. It'll actually be 10 sections when they're done with it. So the idea is to make each car individual, so each car has its separate looks. Part of that is using the LED tape light and stuff like that.
Well, I think this new float is going to be amazing. And again, that's why we're making it the last float in the parade, so that when it starts at approximately 6 o'clock at night, it'll be dark. And when you do a night parade, the one thing I've learned years ago is you want a light show. And we're going to give them a light show.
At the end of the day, I really had to take stock of what we're achieving here. It's history in the making. It's going to set the standard for every super float to come after this, and probably never ever measure up unless Endymion outdoes itself with another concept, which I wholeheartedly hope to be a part of. I'm glad that I could be a part of sharing my abilities and talents with not only the crew of Endymion, but with the people who will be blown away when they see this float on the street.
I know that what we do is important for the city. I know that what we do is important for the people and important for our culture. It's been a great thing for our family and our business and for the people that work here, because artists, they get a great sense of accomplishment knowing that their stuff is going on the streets, being seen by all these people, enjoyed by everyone. There's been a handful of floats that have been built in history where people just kind of stop and stand back and watch them and look at them. And, and I think this is going to be one of those floats. It's going to be a show. It's going to be incredible.